welcome again to Olsem Wanem. PNG has one of the highest incidences of HIV/AIDS in the Asia-Pacific region. In this edition, we feature the commemoration of the World AIDS Day. And later on, Sylvia, a woman living with HIV, bravely tells us her story and the challenges she faced. But first, we take a look at people's views on HIV/AIDS and how HIV is primarily transmitted.
HIV is come. It was was one kind storm. Yes, everybody got passing some fear and
The first time I remember me being thinking was me being less low. Go close to Lord's like online to get age lem na. To was a minu bin amamas lo talk one time all to me look to but like Tani Mile or Islam America to age na iba like kind that.
Yeah, Emma Lomiat Miss Savas, Sambla or to mates, Sem treating them good now, or say Lucy Mem now, or you can't something.
HIV/AIDS was first reported in Papua New Guinea in 1987. Back then, very little was known about the virus. With no treatment, one can imagine the fear and desperation that existed back then. HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus Infection. AIDS stands for Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome. HIV/AIDS is a disease spectrum of the human immune system. Lack of knowledge about HIV resulted in ostracism, violence, even accusations of sorcery and murder. Bernard Paro, the branch manager of Anglicare Stop AIDS in Port Moresby, tells us that knowledge on HIV/AIDS plays an important role as it affects our attitude towards HIV/AIDS.
When I first joined, I wasn't part of Anglicare. I also had that fear. When someone had HIV, I kind of kept my distance because I wasn't sure. But since being involved with Anglicare and being through a lot of, having a lot of information about HIV, it's changed my perspective. So when you are not sure what it's about and you don't have that information, you see it from a different perspective. You have fear, you stay away, you treat people differently. But once you get to know them, you start to see that they're just like everybody else.
People living with HIV/AIDS are faced with a huge challenge of dealing with stigma and discrimination. What do we mean by stigma and discrimination?
Stigma is, the definition says it's a stain or a label. So we can say stigma is when if you give a name to a person. So for example, if someone has HIV, people start labeling them, giving them names associated to that name. So in PNG, I'm sick no good, Mark lo die, or I'm sick blow, or man says sleep no about. So they see it like they tie it with prostitution. So that's putting names to it is called stigma. Discrimination is when you start to separate that person from the rest of society or from a certain group. So if someone has HIV, now that if you remove them from work, that's discrimination. If he wants to play sports, but because he's and then you stop him from playing sports, that's discrimination. So discrimination is separating them from being involved in certain activities because of their status.
When talking about HIV/AIDS, the first thing that would come to one's mind is sex. But HIV is not only transmitted through sex.
That's true. Most times when you say HIV, people relate it straight away to sex. But we have to be mindful that there are other ways that this virus is also spread. So one of them is parent to child. Now they say parent because before they used to say mother to child. and it was felt like the mother was totally responsible. But parent to child is because a man and a woman get together and a child is born. So they say parents, so both parents are responsible in that sense. So when I'm through breastfeeding, the child can, if the child is negative and the mother is positive, then, or if the child is positive, the mother is negative, HIV can be spread. Why I'm saying probably to the child, because sometimes through our customs, our aunties breastfeed our children, another mother is taken care of, and the child, if it's positive, can pass it on to the mother that's breastfeeding. So that's one area. The other area is we say tattooing or using razor blades. Now tattooing is becoming very popular, so the risk of tattooing is an avenue. The other is contact sports. Sometimes contact sports, or in a street we're having a fight, tribal fights, when someone has a big gash or spear, we just automatically run out and put our hand to stop the blood from coming out. And we don't know that we might have an open cut. And those are the things that people sometimes forget, that the HIV is spread through blood contact.
There is a growing need for more awareness and education on HIV/AIDS. The first ever TV ads on HIV/AIDS in the 1990s became popular. However, they were not easily accepted by many people due to the language used. It is said that many people were not ready to openly discuss about sex. But times have changed and more awareness is now being carried out than ever before.
What the government is doing it's very good, just to educate the people and not to neglect the people, to get them together, live with them, stay with them, and they are part of the community.
Awareness more on HIV/AIDS, because awareness, I'm pretty sure that awareness can minimize the HIV effect, because awareness is the basic, it's the basic way to minimize the HIV.
Anglican Stop AIDS is one of Papua New Guinea's largest NGO working in the HIV sector. It is the Anglican Church's response to the growing HIV crisis and currently one of the main service providers in Papua New Guinea.
Provides different types of program. The major program is HIV and AIDS, but I'll highlight the other programs quickly. Like we have adult literacy, which focuses at illiterate people from the age of 11 to 60 who never went to school, and we believe that they have a right to education. And the reason being is that Anglicare, when it first started, identified a lot of PAL HIVs, or people living with HIV, to be illiterate. So the literacy program started to help them have an education, because that would improve their living and to enable them to make better decisions. So the adult literacy program started from 2005 and has been running up till now, and it's getting bigger and better and strong, and we're expanding to Popondetta and through all the Anglican dioceses and even to the community as well. So adult literacy is one of the programs. The other program is life skills, which looks at baking and sewing to help improve people, low-income earners have an extra income, and by having an extra income, it improves their living standard. So, and that skill is also provided to our PL HIVs to improve their living as well.
Television awareness ads on HIV/AIDS began in the mid-1990s, but many people were not ready to openly discuss about sex and didn't accept the type of language used.
It did, it definitely did, because people weren't ready. People were not ready to accept those words. I think mainly because there were children listening to it, children underage, that parents felt that children shouldn't listen to such a word. So at that time, I mean, me as a parent, I would also disagree to hear that word. Maybe it could have been put in a different way. So at that time, yes, it was a new thing, and he had to make a decision. He did. It caused a controversy, but I think the message got across, and people said, "Okay, how best can we deliver?" And I think we've changed a lot with lessons learned from overseas, lessons learned within our own culture, and how Papua New Guineans behave, and we're moving forward, and that's the good thing.
As time passed, television awareness ads on HIV/AIDS began to use less explicit languages. Here are some TV ads that used less explicit languages and were accepted by many people.
Make PNG HIV-free. Stop the spread of HIV in PNG. Get your blood test done today. Know your HIV status.
Change your attitude.
Use safe condom.
Test your blood.
Your future is in your hands.
One step that the National Department of Health is now doing is using PNG musicians to raise awareness through music. Gayat Lele, famously known as Kedu Man, believes in advocating on HIV/AIDS through music.
As a musician, me looking through music, I think that's the fast and the cheapest way of passing message across. In HIV alone, but anything, because kind of some musician or some mibla or some mibla fan base finish. So anytime one man voice play me to Kedimen and Temol to Kedimen all like since you know Adam message come on all back him. So it's good that involving all musicians in such awareness like this. So mibla can go out, play music, and then same time passing message across all public. What's age is one disadvantage, advantage below HIV/AIDS na kind of thing. Also now mibla talk we talk about stigma and discrimination now. HIV/AIDS companies it's here to be.
Supportive wife Joan stands by her husband to advocate on HIV/AIDS through music.
Na HIV/AIDS tu msemikla gwented na mtasaputo mola sintin la help him mogata maswok boom na help him na strong him na arfla.
They have worked on the jingle, and the full song is expected to hit the airwaves early next year.
People, one nation. Good to stop no HIV/AIDS in our land. Open one time, supporting zero stigma and discrimination. Access to services is my equal rights.
Hero Mary, needed rights to Olsem you. Come on, Mary, you may want PNG transform.
HIV/AIDS, eagle bright long kiss embarrassing.
Welcome back. It takes great courage for someone living with HIV to come out and speak openly about it. Sylvia, a mother of 3, tells us her story.
Sylvia is in her early 30s and is married with 3 children. She lost her third son as a result of the virus that she contracted from her husband. It was through her late son that she found out about her HIV status.
One time, because likely boy blow me carry, I'm so sick. I'm so sick close to. I'm sick close to na meeting him. Why I'm so sick close to. So me kiss him go lo clinic. Also talk him osem na me give marasin this la marasin musa walk lo body blame. Na same time to me go down all get plenty heavy na me go me bun all get me lose weight. I blow me am put down. Mi plab sa lotu lo Shalom Baptist Church. So mi plab go lotu na mi meeting one plus sister. Em sa walk one time on YWCA. So one plus time mo talk all very heavy one plus training lo YWCA age and awareness training. So em invite me na mi go. No talk lo symptoms lo HIV no this la. Mi siran lo backside now so mi plab ting em kisi me. So because me no sa lo read na write, me just write him chol one em all write him lo board. Lo antapol writing sa white Mary na mi kisimol osem main something osem symptoms of HIV ta so mi write him go down osem time you got this sick by you feeling fever by you feeling tired osem body bleed by weak na by you sick close to so mi kisim liklik boy na mi wasim em straight me to plug go down lo Salvation Army lo town mi to plug go inside na mi go straight na mi talk him sa counselor please me na you testing me sabe o se me got this la sick na em talk how you sabe na me talk em confidential so also got this la kind 10 to 15 minutes repetitive test so me been making this la test now em kiss him na em talking me em talk you talk em you yet by you look him na em sorry me o se em talk em tupla line ya so one em tin blue you na me talk me sabe o se me got this la sick binatan HIV em stop inside. So that the moment time I'm talking me osem meeting him osem life blow me end now.
There are many reasons that contribute to how and why people end up contracting the virus. According to Sylvia's story, her parents' divorce and the hardships she faced when she was very young were the major factors that led to her contraction of the virus.
Sometimes bubu line blow me almost treating me good. Me no go school too. Almost treating me one kind of semol narapla. Also treating me as a slave. So time me go back, me play one play weekend, me play go lo. Goldie stand auntie blow me now. Auntie blow me em talking me. Em harem semol no treating me good. So em talking me osem. You and mama papa blow been divorced now. Life em osem so all giving you go now look out them you. So this la time straight and meeting him osem. So me no true blow so all no treating me good. That is the desire na think osem how baby married good na me sit down me less long life where mama papa me been go through me no liking this la kind life this la think me sagat na one plus fear me sagat osem me must look and me must married good na stop good and fear blow me so it's me stop go me can stalo city na me paini one bla young pla girl and blow kerema em one plus sex worker na me been story lo life blow me lo emosem me me no got family so em talk you can come na stop one time me so me say stop one time em na me no entertain me yet lo go out one time em so what sa first night me la stop me looking mosem em go out one time plenty man na em sa go na kan na that's how em say him living blow em so em sa look out me osem sister blame igo na me meet him man now me married him ya me meet him na me been talking him straight osem life blow me osem me like married him good bla man we must look out me so you think meeting osem alright lo me lo go stand them so me been go so I'm not been talk honest lo me how life and start na I'm one kind man so just lo meet ta solo this la night next morning me go me behind him go down so me go stop one time Papa blame me rouse me lo house na me all picking lo me plus sleep underneath lo house plus stop underneath lo house plus sleep while I stop outside so walk na stop outside and walk it like is a stop is a tiny musem one up by me Inugat maglahapa mi go because life am hard. Time to sleep underneath laos, me sleepy mol beginning mi sa beten tasol. Mi sa beten ho se mamla day mi got faith ho se mamla day God by answering sa prayer bro mi bla.
Posters and pamphlets can be created to raise awareness, but the best way in which to advocate on HIV/AIDS is by letting the people living with HIV/AIDS tell their stories to the people.
Me looking for some plenty awareness come up, but now this awareness minus also Wanem name die. This awareness now no got now plenty more increase here. HIV work increase even on 15, 16 years old when go young early teenage or work pregnancy na kamlo PPTC clinic time all post was testimony. Hem was one pla day but 2 pla 3 pla hem increase up here. Na was Misa tinim AIDS cancer or working one something. Or my palaba can make one something. Suppose a minister blow HIV. This awareness almost give him low line we all stop on this last sick so that me play it can sign up not talk. Because you feel him Muslim, you want a man where you know stop straight or you man where you surround outside or you marry yourself. You know I want something by stopping you because you must have some life play you important. You have only one life on this earth. People living with HIV, they need care, all need him love, all need him support, all need him kind of some, if me talk, if you are someone where you come out inside a church, church need to see that area to love and care for you. That will give you hope. Courage from you said stop on this la sick, you must have lo you yet na, help him you yet lo, kisi marasin. We people living with HIV positive, we have our rights.
People living with HIV/AIDS in PNG are no different than those around the world. They all face many challenges. It is also very important to understand that HIV is not only transmitted through sexual intercourse, but through other ways as well, such as parent to child. Here is a story of an 11-year-old boy in Kenya who contracted HIV from his parents.
My name is Elijah Zachary Lamayan, female. I come from Kasarani Mweki in Nairobi. I live with my mother, my father, and the small brother and the auntie. My mother told me when I was a baby, she transmitted HIV to me using breast, and she did not know. Elijah, high five. My school is called Nyawai Academy, and what I like about school is that they have games and the teachers are so funny and they teach us a lot of things. That time when I was at school, at first even I did not start ARVs. Now, every day when I went to school, I was sad, feeling unhealthy. Now, every day I was hard. When I was sick, I had to be sent back home to go and be taken to the hospital. Until when I started ARVs, I started being healthy and never missed school. And now we started being friends with Teacher Stanley. Teacher Stanley is very fun. Me and Teacher Stanley, we are best friends. Even we make jokes with each other.
It was last year when I joined Hawaii. I was the class 4 class teacher. That is the time when I met Elijah. When he was in school, most of the time he was too stressed up. He could be alone and the rest. So one time I decided to know what was the problem. I called him to me. We talked as friends. Then at that time is when he told me he was positive. After talking to him, he told me he would be happy to learn about it in class. So from there, I tried to talk to my class about the status. I explained to them that being positive means that person is normal. He is a person like the others. I told them someone will not be positive because he or she has played with a positive person. Then from that, they started playing with him, taking him as one of them a normal person and leading a normal life.
They now started becoming nice to me. Now they even play with me. They don't stigmatize me.
I think it is important for these kids to disclose it to us as teachers, because from that we shall help them taking the medications, and still we shall help them in minimizing this stigma of people living with HIV/AIDS.
I think the people are afraid of HIV, but now I'm here to tell them not to be afraid. It's not that bad.
And that's all for this episode. Remember that HIV/AIDS is real. Learn as much as you can, know your status, and protect yourself and the people you love. And let's make our communities free from stigma and discrimination, and support people living with HIV/AIDS. If you have any comments or stories, please contact us via the address on your screen or visit us on our Facebook page. For now, enjoy the rest of your viewing.